High school girl in Michigan was cyberbullied for more than a year, sometimes receiving up to 12 threatening messages a day.
And who turned out to be the suspect shocked everyone.
The more friends you have, the easier it is to be betrayed by them.
It was so bad to the point where I didn't want to even go to school anymore.
The motive is still a mystery.
Things are about to get so much worse.
There's no confirmed motive, but there are some theories being floated out.
There's still no explanation for why.
Hello, my name is Barry, and this is my bed. I suffer with certain mental health issues, and I'm on meds, and one of my side effects is chronic bed rot, where I binge TV shows and rewatch true crime podcasts over and over and over again. If you can relate, I'd love for you to join our channel and our community and follow. If not, that's fine. You totally don't have to, but don't mind me just watching. I recently covered Gypsy Rose Blanchard, Life After Lockup, mainly just season 2, so you could go back and watch that if you'd like to. We're going to do a little something different today. It's a palate cleanse, if you will, from Haktui. Get that shit out of my mouth. All right, let's talk about something else. There is a slight relation between Gypsy Rose Blanchard and the Unknown Number, the high school catfish, the documentary on Netflix. If you've seen that documentary, then you know the correlation. If you haven't seen the documentary, I highly recommend you go and watch it. Before you watch this, because this is going to be a straight spoiler, the whole thing is going to be a spoiler. The Netflix documentary had this huge plot twist. Half the documentary, you don't know something, and then they plot twist it. All right, well, I thought about it. I wrote out half a script where we did that, where in my video, we would go along with the documentary and not know. And I'm like, F that. We're exposing this bitch, all right? I don't give a F anymore. I hate her. And I'm not going along with this dramatic effect that Netflix had to have for their documentary. Excuse me. F that. I am curious, though, if you have not seen this documentary. This documentary is pretty viral. I watched this documentary a couple times, as well as listening to multiple YouTubers who have covered this. True Crime with Kendall Ray, Rotten Mango, iNabber, Kenny J, Annie Elise with Serial Asleep podcast, Maria Elena, Kirkman, Cam Kirkham. Sorry, he's a new one for me. A couple of these people even had information that was left out of the documentary, but is in the case documents. Stephanie Sue from Rotten Mango got the FOIA request. I think she said it was 1,200 pages because of all the text messages. But they have the court documents for this case. And they talked about so much more that the documentary didn't add in. And we're going to get to it today. Okay? I compiled this all together for you. But go give Rotten Mango a view after this, please, because she did her due diligence. She did her work. They spent the pretty penny for that FOIA document. And at the end of her video, you can listen to the whole body cam footage, not just clips that were put in the documentary. Okay, she has the whole body cam footage. It is blurred for privacy reasons, I think she said. I can't remember, so that's why I'm air quoting that. But yeah, you can at least listen to the whole body cam footage. How I'm going to do this video is basically we're going to follow the timeline of the documentary so I can speak on things I noticed in the documentary, as well as I will add in information that I feel like falls in line that I learned from other people and in my research. The documentary starts out with a little text on screen that says all the text messages in this documentary were real. Yes, they used a lot of real text, but they didn't use all of them. There are some texts that they left out that I feel like are key components into the why Kendra Licari did this. The beginning of the documentary, there's like this little intro where they kind of set the scene for you, introduce some key players. We learn who Owen and Lauren are. Owen and Lauren are a couple who are young. They're 13 years old. They just started dating. They're in middle school. They're from Beale City, Michigan. Beale City, Michigan is a really, really small town. They have like 300 people as a population. That's smaller than my graduating high school class. It's got 2 pubs and 1 stoplight. Their school, all the kids go to one school. Every single kid in the town goes to one school. It's pre-K through 12th grade. 30 kids to every grade, I think they said. It's safe to say that in this town, everybody knows everybody and your grandma. Some of the kids they introduce in the intro talk about how there's nothing to do in this town but gossip, and even the parents gossip about the kids. I had to move to a small town, not by choice, and trust me, I get it. They don't like outsiders. Everyone looks at me like I'm an alien when I go to the one gas station in my town. Okay, there's two. Whatever. And from what I've gathered, most of the people in Beale City like grew up in Beale City and they didn't leave. For example, Owen's parents, Jill and something McKinney, they grew up there, high school. They still live in Beale City. Lauren's parents, Sean and Kendra Licari. Sean grew up in Beale City, but Kendra did not. She went to they met in college at a college in Michigan, and then she moved with him back to Beale City. And they really start the documentary, and it says on screen October 2020, and you see like it's a gravel dirt road in the dark with one streetlight that's flickering, set the creepy vibes. We see Lauren being interviewed. She's in her room. She's in what she's wearing is important. Okay, so just bear with me until the end. But she's wearing a pink long sleeve with a white vest on. Okay, so throughout the entire documentary until the end, that's where she's being interviewed in this one spot in her room. She had little twinkling lights. Her room was really cute, and it really brings you in and reminds you that this is a child. And she's telling production in her interview about a Halloween party that was coming up. And the host was a girl named Chloe. Her family hosted. Everybody in the town went to this party. Like the kids went to the party. The parents went to the party because you want to go where everybody knows your name. Dun, 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 dun. We see Owen. He's in his bedroom. His room looks more grown up. I'm not going to lie. He says that in October of 2020, him and Lauren were dating for a year at this point, which for middle school, that's a really long time. That's a steady relationship right there. They're talking about how Lauren was not invited to this party, which is weird because the whole town was apparently invited to this party. It's like an open house party. It happens every year. Owen says he was invited, so he wanted to bring Lauren to this party. He's like, if I'm going, she's going too. But Lauren's like, I don't want to go to this party. Owen says that Lauren's not really fans of the girls in their class and that she wanted the Halloween to just be the two of them. But 2 weeks before the Halloween party is when Lauren and Owen get a text in a group chat. And when this is happening, we see Lauren. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. I just think this is so ridiculous. But Lauren is acting this out. We see Lauren. They didn't get like actors or anything that reenact this. This is Lauren acting this out. She's standing outside like roasting s'mores at a bonfire or something. And then her phone dings. She gets her phone out. And then on screen, we see the text pop up on screen next to her with this like creepy robot voice that comes on. Hi, Lauren. Owen is breaking up with you. He no longer likes you and hasn't liked you for a while. It's obvious he wants me. He laughs, smiles, touches my hair. Not sure what he told you, but he's coming to the Halloween party and we are both DTF. You're a sweet girl, but I know I can give him what he wants. Sorry, not sorry. In the documentary, you don't know who sent this. They're leaving this open as a mystery in this part of the documentary. But I'm going to tell you, I knew watching this who did it. Social media spoiled this for me, so I'm spoiling it for you too, okay? If you don't want it spoiled, then you should have left already. But Kendra Licari sent this to her daughter, okay? And I feel like this is the hair touching part is very specific because there's no way I don't think Owen's touched Kendra Licari's hair. He's not touching his girlfriend mom's hair. I just have a theory that goes along way back to this point that Kendra knew something about Chloe and Owen maybe touching Chloe's hair. And she was already trying to pin this on Chloe because Owen thought it was Chloe immediately from this message. Lauren says she didn't know who it could be, but she thought it was a friend trying to mess with them. And Owen says he asked Chloe because they were best friends, so he asked if it was her. Do you know who this is? After this Halloween party, the messages stopped. They never clarified if Lauren and Owen went to the Halloween party. I couldn't find it in any articles or any YouTube videos I watched on this. I have no idea if Lauren and Owen went to that Halloween party. But after the Halloween party, the messages stop and there's a long break, so they kind of just forget about it. From the YouTuber iNabber and True Crime with Kendall Ray, I can't remember if Rotten Mango mentioned this. But supposedly the story was that Lauren was not invited to this Halloween party. Like the girls were not inviting her. I think it's because they had a crush on Owen. They didn't want Lauren to be there. So she wasn't invited. Tammy, Chloe's mom, heard about this. So she contacted Kendra and said, listen, everyone's invited. It's an open house for the whole town. Anybody can come to the party. Kendra didn't pass this message along to her daughter. which is another example to me of Kendra already trying to pin this on Chloe. The day after the documentary premiered, Chloe made a 9-minute video and she talked about on TikTok, and she talked about how this wasn't even really a Halloween party. It was like a haunted trail. It was an open house for everybody to come to the party. No one was like really invited. It was just something everybody in the town knew about. But like I said, I think the girls made Lauren feel unwelcome at this party. So she didn't feel like going, and Kendra knew she was invited, but still didn't tell her, causing this rift between her daughter and the group of mean girls at school. I'm sorry. They are. 11 months go by when the messages start back up again. So there's no messages for like 11 months. So this is October 2020. So they start back up right as their freshman year starts. They're now 14. They're freshmen in high school. They're going into high school. 2021. Lauren and Owen you see B-roll, like camera footage of them walking around the high school at different times, so they acted this out. I'm going to reiterate this. Like looking at their phones, walking around the school, and they get a group text again from the person, and the creepy voice comes on. I don't know. Should I do a creepy voice? What do they say? How's the perfect couple? Preparing for the end of the golden relationship? We hear about how you are the forever couple. Some of us don't want to hear it anymore. Owen loves me, and I will always be the girl he loves. He will be with me while your lonely, ugly ass is alone. Lauren says that she felt like this unknown number, Kendra, was trying to break her and Owen up. She tried calling the number to see if they would answer and hear their voice, but they wouldn't answer, and they would just text back and say like, God, Lo, stop fucking calling. I'm not going to answer. And that really changed things for her because only people that are close to her call her nickname Lo. They take a little side venture in the documentary here where they talk about Lauren and Owen's relationship and how cute they were and how they met, when their relationship started, how they have so many similarities in sports, stuff like that. They show a montage of pictures of them on screen. One of the pictures it shows of them is Owen and Lauren at a football game, and Lauren's wearing a shirt that says, I got dibs on the quarterback. I wonder if Kendra made that for her and pictured herself wearing it. And this is the part in the documentary where we meet all the parents of these kids. Sean Licari said that, Lauren started talking to a boy, and he's like, aren't you too young for that? Dad talk. And we meet the wench herself, Kendra Licari. They were so cute together. They played sports together. They went trick-or-treating together. The whole time she's talking about them, she's just all smiles. So excited to be talking about Owen. Everyone who covered this case talked about in the court documents, it is stated that Kendra would go on every date with Owen and Lauren and take pictures of them and then send them to Owen. Owen's parents are Jill and Dave McKinney. Talk about how all the parents became friends. So Sean and Kendra Licari became friends with Jill and Dave McKinney, and they would all hang out. And then the kids, Lauren and Owen, would get to hang out too. They'd go on little bonfires, stuff like that. Kendra and Jill became really good friends, supposedly. And in recaps that I listened to of this case, it is noted that Kendra was considered the cool mom amongst the kids. I don't think amongst the adults. The adults were just annoyed with how much she talked about Lauren. But she was always trying to hang out around the kids. She had all their phone numbers. She volunteered at the school for like every event. She coached sports. She had the cool mom rep. She was known to do cartwheels in the hallway and shit. But Stephanie Sue on Rotten Mango stated that in the court documents around this time that freshman year started, there was text messages coming to Lauren and Owen in a group text about homecoming court. Like when, I know some of you are from other countries, but American school, when it starts, we have homecoming football game, homecoming dance. It's a big deal. There's homecoming court. You vote for a king and queen of your class. Well, the unknown texter, Kendra, who volunteers at the school and shit, she knew who won homecoming court and was going to be nominated. So she was taunting them by saying, oh, I know who made homecoming court and only one of you's on there. Isn't going to kind of have to suck to see your boyfriend getting pictures and looking all cutesy with somebody else. And we do see later in the documentary, Owen and Chloe all dressed up for homecoming in pictures together. So another time she tried to pin that shit on Chloe. Owen and Lauren started realizing that they were kind of being stalked at school because the messages were turning into stuff that was happening at school. Owen liking our science combo about Sophie. We texted him to sit by us and he fucking did it. Which Owen sits with Chloe and Sophie in one of their classes. The kids start to do their own investigation. And when I say kids, Lauren is excluded from this investigation, I noticed. It really seemed to be Owen and his girlfriends, Chloe, Macy, and Sophie, who are solving this. I guess he turned to his friends to ask them for support or ask if they knew who it could be or is it them. They would FaceTime each other every night and be like, what was in the text today? Who could have sent that? They started making lists of all the groups at school, like the popular kids, the cheerleaders. Owen says there's a group that his cousin Adriana is in, like a group of girls. Or it could be the quiet techie kids. Is that a new word for nerds? Quiet and techie? Nerds! Owen said it got to a point where anytime he was at school and he got a text message, he would look up and look around him to see if anybody had their phone out. Like, I've been stalked before, and I don't really think people understand how it can really mess with you to be stalked and to feel like you're being stalked. It's a really scary thing, and you don't really realize how scary it can be or how serious it is until it's happened to you, unfortunately. You might think it's, just whatever, because you're not being harmed, but psychologically, you are being harmed. A lot of the texts made fun of Lauren. It was a group text to Lauren and Owen, but Kendra's just making fun of Lauren, making fun of what she wore that day, calling her anorexic, picking at her insecurities. Lauren says that she felt like the person knew what she was doing at school. And when she says it to production, she's like staring off in the distance and looking down. She just has this lost look on her face. Like she's realizing in that moment, wait a second, that was my mom doing that. Kendra was bringing like these, have you ever seen Pretty Little Liars? It was like that vibes. Like she's trying to do that until you get to the sexual part of it. Another text on screen with the creepy robot voice. I can't do a creepy robot voice. Fucking trash bags. Don't wear effing leggings. Ain't no one want to see your anorexic flat ass. Which started making Lauren like worry about her appearance at school. And like wondering what she should wear, how she should do her hair, things she shouldn't have to worry about as a kid. And it started to affect the way she thought about herself. When I watched a video about this by Maria Elena, she's like Gen Z, so she's a little younger. The way she explained this made something click in my head. I never would have thought of this unless I was a younger person. She said from the beginning when watching this documentary, at this point, she knew that this was an adult pretending to be a child. Because remember, in the documentary, at this point, we don't know this is Kendra. We don't know who it is. They think it's one of their friends or a mean girl, so they're portraying that to you as an audience, that this could be a child. But Maria Elena says, I knew at this moment that this was an adult pretending to be a child because ain't nobody under the age of 30 use the word leggings. We say yoga pants. And I'm like, you're worthless and mean nothing. You never have. Get a fucking life out of here. Owen will never look at you or talk to you. Fucked up his life so bad. His family fucking hates you for it, and he will never in his life acknowledge you again. Get the fuck lost, bitch. He's fucking done with you. That's just how I picture Kendra saying these things. A lot of these messages also contain pictures of Lauren and Owen with a vomit emoji on Lauren's face. I wonder if Kendra also was editing these pictures to put her face on Lauren's face. She wanted to wear Lauren's skin. She wanted to be with Owen. Owen says it got so bad he didn't want to go to school and he didn't know who to trust anymore, so that's when he finally decided to tell his parents. Lauren came home in a mood and Sean asked what was wrong, and she's like, I just got this stupid dumb text from school, and that's how it came out at home. Lauren says that her mom, Kendra, told her to just ignore the messages, don't read them, you're beautiful. Kendra tells the cameras that she was just telling Lauren to just be her. Just be her. Not read the messages, and I don't think anything harmful would happen. Which is a narrative she really wanted to portray, that she didn't think anything harmful would happen from this situation she was doing. They show a couple messages on screen that show how vulgar it started to get. I'm actually shocked that Netflix put the actual messages on there of what this bitch was saying to these children. I feel so uncomfortable reading these messages and knowing they went to children. But I want you to understand how vulgar they got. If you haven't seen this documentary, you need to understand how bad this is. So I'm going to play a clip of Kendall Ray. Just listen.
Owen and I down to finger fuck. His dick and finger, my pussy and mouth, my fucking tits in his face, fucking make him horny, make it. Yeah, he wants sex and making out. He don't want your sorry ass.
Owen's mom, Jill, said the messages were getting so vulgar. She was taking his She was taking his phone at the end of every night. They show her going through his phone, like sitting in her bed, going through his phone, and messages are just like scrolling by on the screen for the documentary. And I paused it to read one of the messages. Like all I could see was this. Lau, he hates you. You embarrass him. Make him miserable. Facts. He avoids your sorry ass all day. You see him pick us over you. For real, you're the worst girlfriend. He wants 0 with your sorry, ugly, anorexic ass. Check the screenshots we sent you. The shit he said, we promise we will break you. You are through. We will make it embarrassing for you both. We will tell all and everything it takes. I guarantee you, we will break you this week. We've tried for over a year. We will do it now for sure. We don't want you to even look at each other. He already chose us. And then it like swipes away, so I couldn't read the rest of that message because I just could not pause it. It's relentless, the pure hatred for Lauren, jealousy of Lauren. And this person, Kendra, clearly wants Owen, her own mother. Ugh. Did you get the screenshots we sent you? That part? I think it was the Serialously podcast. Annie Elise brought up the unknown number. Kendra sent Owen messages. So he was getting his own messages, not just the group text messages. He was getting his own messages too. They didn't really hone in on that in the documentary at all. It was just group chats, mainly to Lauren. Kendra was like taunting Owen, and Owen's like, just leave me alone. She's like, I'll leave you alone if you say you hate Lauren. He's like, all right, fine. So he does. And then she screenshots it and sends it to Lauren. Check the screenshots we sent you. She keeps using we. She's trying to pin it on a group of girls at the school. These messages are coming in 40 to 50 a day, by the way. The documentary at this point shows Jill and Kendra like talking back and forth real quick. Jill says all 4 of us as parents need to go and show the principal how bad this has gotten. Kendra says, the messages have gotten so bad, coming during school hours. Jill's like, the school is responsible for them during school hours and on school property. Kendra says she thought the school would do something. They didn't really handle things very well. They didn't handle things very well. That's rich coming from you. Cause it is you. You're right. I hate agreeing with you, but yeah, the school didn't do a very good job of figuring out it was you. They didn't handle it very well. We meet the superintendent, Bill Chillman. Says that he thought it was going to be a typical cyberbullying case that he deals with all the time, he says. But he said this case turned differently when he saw the text messages. Yeah, it's different because how would you think a 13 and 14-year-old would be sending these vulgar messages? Especially little girls. I really can't. I got so mad watching this documentary. I don't know if I'm biased because I knew who it was the whole time I watched it. He said these messages were so bad they made a 53-year-old man blush.
They were vulgar and nasty enough in nature to make a 53-year-old man blush.
Excuse me, why are you blushing at vulgar messages sent to children? Why did you not think this was an adult in the first place? I don't know. We meet Dan Boyer, and he's the principal of the school, and he says that he was shocked at how vitriolic the messages were. He's never seen it in his career. Never. The superintendent, Dan Boyer, the principal, never seen this bad of vitriolic, vulgar, horrible messages from children before. So why they think it's children, I don't know. And they show Lauren again in the documentary walking down the hallway looking at her phone with the creepy robot voice and the text messages scrolling on screen, her acting this out again, calling her a slut for the way she dresses. That's what the message says. And then Kendra goes on to say she wants her tit in his face, making him horny, creamy. She uses the word cream a lot. Ugh, that word is not the same to me anymore after this documentary. I bet even Owen and Lauren are uncomfortable with the word cream. Like, oh, Mom, what's in this pasta? It's really good. Oh, some cheese, noodles, heavy cream. And as time went on, these messages started to get more fervor, more horny, more creamery. Kendra was going into explicit detail on what she wanted to do to Owen, a 14-year-old boy. Kendra was insinuating in these messages to Lauren that she's not sexual enough for Owen, and that's why Owen doesn't like her. Some of her responses back to the unknown number, her mom, was, "You're just jealous." Yes, she is, Lauren. Kendra's very jealous of you. She wants your boyfriend. Maternal jealousy is a real thing. Chillman, the superintendent, he talks to the production about how he wants to bring Lauren and Owen in and question them, essentially interrogate them, because he doesn't know what's going on. Lauren could be sending these messages to herself, he says. Why? I honestly think it's weird to automatically go to Lauren being the one sending them to herself. For attention? This girl doesn't want attention. She's a shy, quiet girl. She wants to sit in the corner and for you to leave her the F alone. That's what she wants. One of the YouTubers I watched, I think it was Kenny J, it is stated, Kendra was the one that suggested it was Lauren, by the way. They ran with that on the documentary as well. They have Chillman spewing that shit out. They have Sophie spewing that shit too, the little girl. And it's Sophie that she talks to the camera talking about the kids Scooby-Doo mission they were doing to solve the case because, the principal's not doing shit. The superintendent's not doing shit. So they do this CIA mission to find the mole. Really, they say information A is told to person A. Information B is told to person B. So whichever piece of information shows up in the messages, that's the person. Apparently, when the kids would do this, it would come up when they told Lauren something. That's why there's this theory that it's Lauren. But let me tell you something. Lauren is a quiet, shy girl. Everyone in the documentary said this about her. Everyone, you can see it on her. But she's struggling right now because an unknown number is harassing her. It could be anyone. She thinks it's anyone at her school. She doesn't trust anyone. The only person she trusts is her mother. She goes home and tells her mother everything that's going on. So if you guys are sharing some secret bit of information around Lauren to see if it's going to be repeated, Lauren's probably like, oh shit, they're talking about this, this, and this. She repeats it to her mom, her only one friend. And of course it's going to be in the messages because it's her mom. Newsflash. Here, Macy says that Lauren was quiet and kept to herself, while Sophie says that Lauren only talked about sports and things that didn't really mean anything to her. That didn't really mean anything to her. And then on the documentary, it cuts to Lauren and her showing a TikTok video of her showing all her trophies and all her medals that she's won because she loves sports. She talks about sports because she cares about sports, Sophie. Little mean brat. Side note, after this documentary came out, all the kids privated and deleted their TikToks, by the way. Oh, here we go. This is where I want to talk about baseline. When you are a police officer and you're interrogating someone, you get a baseline of their character, mannerisms, body language, fluctuation in voice, facial features, things like that. So you can tell if they're lying or not, or if that is a baseline characteristic and that's how they are all the time. Watch the documentary again and get a baseline for Lauren and see how monotone she is, emotionless she is, quiet and shy she is. That's her baseline. That just really sets me up for when I talk about the body cam footage later. Okay, so remember that. Sophie even says that Lauren had some friends but not many and kept to herself. But she thinks she says to camera, she thinks Lauren was trying to send the messages to herself to get closer to Owen. Because that makes sense. Make that make sense. My brain doesn't compute that. It seemed like she wanted attention and this was a way to get it. I shouldn't mock children, but they're bullies. That's how she said it. And I think they get it from their moms. Because some of the moms in this documentary gave mean girl vibes too. There's clearly a social hierarchy in this town that passed along from when their moms and dads were in high school. In the documentary, the superintendent states that he actually ruled out Lauren and Owen right away because of their genuine responses. But still, to this day, people think that Lauren was involved. It's a daunting task because there's 700 people at this school. Okay, well, you can cut out half the grades because you're pre-K through 12. Some of them don't even have phones. I don't know why you still think children are sending these messages. Dan Boyer, the principal, said that he picked out some of the kids he knew that would be truthful with him. The snitches. The snitches of the school. Just interrogating children at the school because two men think that a child is sending these messages. Still. I honestly also don't know why the parents didn't go straight to the police. Their children are being sexually harassed. If you think it's a child or not, go to the police. Even though the police didn't really do much either, but you know, and Chillman, the superintendent, is like, Lauren was messaging Chillman every time she got a message, so then he would go to the timestamps and the surveillance to see if any of the kids are on their phone at that time. But you know, from the surveillance footage, you can't tell what they're doing on their phone, so that didn't help. Jill says her and Kendra were always up at the school for something, you know, like a sports event or practice. So they would compare notes and talk about the messages that were sent to Owen and Lauren. Meanwhile, the phone calls coming from inside the house. Kendra says that her and Jill, when they were together, we could talk about anything. If we were together, we could talk about anything and share things. There's really support there. There was really support there. She really liked talking about Jill. That was another time she lit up. Two moms would always go into Dan Boyer's office, the principal, and talk about plans. What can we do? And Boyer said to block the number. Can't block the number because it's from some generator app or something like that. So change the kids' numbers, but it's someone they know. They would get the number. Jill even tells production that was like one of her biggest fears was thinking that it was someone they knew, and she was like letting into her home. Meanwhile, it's the person sitting right next to you, pretending to be a concerned parent. She hates her fucking daughter. Jill says she can't even tell you how many times her and Kendra were in the office just like in tears asking for a phone policy at the school. Like the kids should have to keep their phones in their locker. But the superintendent Chillman was like, no, we don't do that here. Kids need their phones. They're an educational tool. I thought the rule was reasonable. Is that just me? Am I too old? I'm old now. I want to touch on a side note before we get into the breakup, because there was text messages and another story that were brought up in the court documents that were not brought up in the documentary. According to the court documents, there were messages sent from Kendra, not the unknown number. Kendra as a mom, Lauren's mom, was messaging her when they were at a basketball game. At this time, Lauren and Owen are going through problems because Lauren is starting to believe these messages that Owen could be cheating on her with this unknown person who they all think's Chloe and Sophie. Let's just say it. All these people thought it was Chloe and Sophie doing this. Lauren thinks Owen's cheating, so that there's some truth to these messages. So they're going through issues, and she doesn't want to sit by Owen at a basketball game, okay? Kendra's pissed off that Lauren won't sit next to her boyfriend at the basketball game. Why? I don't fucking know. She's crazy. These are what the messages said. Okay, so she's texting Lauren, sit next to him. Answer me. Come here now. I'm pissed. These are all different messages, by the way. All different. Like, she's spamming her phone. Move your ass. Now. Now I'm fuming pissed. This is fucking ridiculous. She has, like, complete lack of boundaries with her daughter. At another basketball game, it is said that one of Lauren's friends, I never said her name, the friend's name was Paige Antcliffe. She says she saw Kendra use Lauren's phone and message Owen and say, I love you. You can't tell me, what is that? What is that lack of boundaries, Kendra? That is disgusting. What are you doing? You could have taken that moment from your daughter. What if that was the first time they said that to each other? And you sent it in a text message from your daughter, and it wasn't even her. Why are you even doing that? In my opinion, this is just another check mark in the obsessed with Owen. She is obsessed with her daughter's boyfriend, a 14-year-old boy. These messages just go on and on about all the things she wanted to do to Owen and get a hotel with him. They're just nasty. Owen in the documentary says that the texter, Kendra, just wanted them to break up. So like one FaceTime call, they're just, they've been going at each other. Not good. And he just says, let's just break up. And then maybe when things clear up and get better, we can get back together. And she was heartbroken about it. They'd been together for 2 years and they just kind of like stopped talking. Owen says Lauren was heartbroken, but when she was talking about it, like, she had her monotone, flat voice, like just no emotion, like normal, her baseline. But Kendra, however, had more emotion than Lauren about their breakup when talking about it to the production. Kendra told her not to worry. You know who Owen is as a person, and even if he didn't like you, he's not going to say these things. And unfortunately, it became a strain on their relationship. And she's like starting to tear up as she said this. Why are you crying, woman? Lauren wasn't even crying about it. What are you crying about? The 14-year-olds broke up. She's so gross. Don't worry, you know who Owen is as a person. Even if he didn't like you, he's not going to say these things. Even if he didn't like you, why did she say that? She thinks she has a chance with Owen. Owen's like the one thing that this person wanted to happen, Kendra. Kendra wanted them to break up, so they broke up and the messages got worse. Then on screen for the documentary, we see another text on screen with the creepy robot voice. Kill yourself now, bitch. His life would be better if you were dead. So these messages have escalated. Lauren said she was in shock and sad that this person would say this to her, and it just put her in a not a good mental state, she said. Which I'm sorry. Why are we still even reading the messages? I'm sorry. If it were me, I wouldn't even be opening the damn things. Principal Boyer was saying that he was worried about Lauren and her state of mind because this takes a toll on a young person's state of mind and on their just being attacked like this over and over again for this long period of time. I mean, what about Owen though? Owen too. These are in group texts. Owen's being sexually harassed right now. They show a text that Kendra sent to Lauren that said, Owen wants you dead. And Owen's like, this would mess with anybody. Jill was worried about what's going to happen to Lauren and Owen when the harassment wasn't enough for this person. Harm could come to these kids. Warning, you finish yourself before we do. Jill says that once the messages got violent like this, that's when she called the police. Sheriff Maine gets involved. Mike Maine. So October 2020 was when the first couple messages came out about the Halloween party. This is now 13 months later. Technically, the messages started back up with an 11-month gap. This has been 2 months this has been going on again. So it's 2 months, now the police are involved. It's a little more rushed than it actually seems, if that makes sense. They show Mike Maine, he's walking into the school and he's talking about how there's a risk of self-harm. The moms are worried. So he's coming in to do some interrogating, basically. He said he's looking for a group of friends sworn to secrecy. A tight bond of kids, young girls that are sending these horrible messages. Even the cops think that it's children. And when they show footage, I shouldn't laugh. When they show footage of Mike Maine walking in, because they're filming all of this again. They were reenacting this with the children. So the police officer, Mike Maine himself, is walking in the school and they've got the camera from behind him, watching him. And there's kids on their phones, in the hallway and stuff. And they're like, oh, hiding. That's what he would do. You can see body cam footage from Mike Maine, in the documentary, and him talking to Lauren at the school about he's going to get down to the bottom of this because whoever this is needs some serious help. And she's just staring dead to the world, dude. She looks like she's disassociating. She's just checked out, pale. A couple of things that were mentioned in the court documents. Kendra, as the unknown catfish, would send text messages to her daughter making fun of her clothes. And then she would show up at school with a shirt for her to change into and tell all her friends as she's walking into the school. Any reason to show up at the school, Kendra was there. Look at me, girls are like, you're such a good mom. You're such a caring mom, Miss Lakari. Call me Kendra. Lauren, she'd be mean to Lauren as the unknown catfish, and Lauren's in the bathroom crying. So Kendra, as Kendra, would then message the girls at the school and her friends and be like, can you go check on Lauren? She's crying in the bathroom. Check on her. Oh, Miss Lakari, you're such a good mom. I know. Aren't I a good mom? I'm the cool mom. She would screenshot messages from the unknown catfish herself, telling Lauren to unalive herself. She would screenshot that, send it to Lauren's friends, freak out Lauren's friends to where they didn't know if anytime Kendra messaged them, it could be about Lauren finding Lauren's body. That's what these little girls were thinking. She's tormenting everybody about this. She was probably getting so creamy thinking about getting everybody freaked out. And in the documentary, we get to basketball season, which is typically the winter time. So messages started when freshman year started back up. So now we're to the winter. So it's been several months that this is still going on. And Kendra would message Lauren as the unknown catfish and tell her that she sucks because she didn't score any points or something. You're the worst. You should just quit, get hurt, and be done. Sean, her dad, says that the sad part is that She was actually really good at sports and she just lost interest because of all this. They show a picture at some point in the documentary of like the basketball team, and it's like a close up of her. She's kneeling next to like she's kneeling, like there's girls behind them. She's kneeling, like her and Sophie are kneeling next to each other. And Sophie's like body language to get away from Lauren. So there's this one particular game where things start to heat up in the documentary. We get a culprit. We get a suspect. The unknown catfish, aka Kendra Lakari, sends a message to Lauren making fun of her for only scoring 2 points. Haha, I scored 12. So Lauren turns to her mom, Kendra, who was the scorekeeper for that game. Go figure. Who scored 12 points? Chloe Wilson, the girl that she's been trying to pin this on since the beginning. I want to point out that in the documentary, we really hone in on Lauren being the victim. We almost kind of forget that Owen is getting these messages too. But the reason why we can't forget is because Jill is the only parent fighting for them to find out who is doing this. She's on a mission. She goes to Kendra because Owen's getting these messages too. It's in a group chat, even though Kendra's only making fun of Lauren. Owen's getting it too. So Jill's like, Kendra, who on the team hates Lauren? We need to find this out. In the documentary, after Jill says this, then they cut to Kendra and she's like, and so that's when I started to wonder if this was somebody who was like jealous or envious of Lauren. But that's a fucking lie. You never thought that because it was you. So did did Netflix tell her to say that to keep up with their narrative? Because the plot twist hasn't come yet. We still don't know that it's Kendra Lakari. They're still trying to, in the narrative, pin it on Chloe and Sophie. They show Lauren in the documentary, and she's talking about how Chloe had a crush on Owen, and she would go and talk to Owen just to make her jealous. We see Owen, and he's like, Lauren and Chloe didn't really get along. Chloe wasn't the nicest person. She wasn't a bully, but she wasn't exactly nice. But hey, I thought you guys were best friends. Clearly aren't friends anymore. Apparently, Chloe had said some things to Lauren, and that's why Lauren didn't like her. Lauren's like, we just didn't vibe well. They were on the same basketball team, but that was it. They didn't match well together. Jill says that she dropped Chloe's name at the school. Said, hey, could it be Chloe? And the school principal's like, we have heard her name around the school before. We have had some problems with her, which is some fucked up small town bullshit to me because you shouldn't be talking about another child with any other parents. I'm sorry. That's inappropriate. Jill didn't need to know that. They introduce Chloe's parents to the documentary, Craig and Tammy Wilson. Tammy says that ever since 7th and 8th grade, Chloe got allegations that Chloe was bullying or being mean at school. Chloe's parents say she's just a leader. She's just a leader. She's a leader, aka bully. That's how a parent says their kid is a leader. I forgot I had makeup on. I think Sophie was a mean girl too. The other little girl in the doc. Macy didn't give that vibe, but Macy hung out with them, so it was a trio in my opinion. And they all had a crush on Owen. Next, they show a text on screen that says, finish yourself or we will. #bang. Mike Main tells cameras that this is when he started investigating Chloe Wilson because of the basketball points, the Halloween party. That's when it all started. What if Chloe's jealous of Lauren is what he's thinking. Because a child is sending these messages, right, Mike Main? They show footage of a fake Halloween party and Chloe they faked a Halloween party and acted it out for Chloe to show that she was having Halloween parties. Body cam footage of Mike Main interrogating Chloe and basically saying, stop doing this. Like, just stop. Look at how many messages this is. Come on. Quit it. She denies it. They cut to Sean on camera and he's like, Chloe would get away with this because her dad's a cop. Pinning this on. So half of this documentary, we're watching it, we think that it's these young girls doing this, narrative they're going with. And this is when Mike Main learns about Sophie, Macy, and Chloe, this little trio group. That's my group. That's my tight-knit group that's keeping these secrets, he says. I know that that's exactly what he was thinking in this moment. It's like, I'm going to talk to these girls and get to the bottom of this. Which, yeah, if you think these messages are coming from children, it would make the most sense that it's coming from these two girls. They go into, in the documentary here, how Sophie and Owen grew up together because Jill is best friends with Sophie's mom, Corinne. They've been best friends forever. And they show Lauren, and she's talking about how Sophie probably feels like I'm taking Owen away from her. Old basketball picture. Jill reaches out to Corinne, her best friend. Like, please talk to your daughter. Can you find anything out? So Corinne took Sophie's phone and went through it, looking for, like, through Chloe and hers messages. She's looking for phone apps for fake phone number. Corinne says that there are arguments in the house. She's like, you have to know what's going on. Kendra completely turned this town upside down. I'm just saying. All these kids are getting accused by their parents, them not believing them, all their privacy being taken away because Kendra's framing these girls. She was getting so creamy over this shit. I think that this caused a rift between Jill and Corinne, two best friends, and then Jill's leaning into Kendra because Kendra's on her side with it. It's their two kids that this is happening to. She's getting closer to Jill, who she wants to be her mother-in-law. Like, the adults pointing the finger at their children and not believing them as a child, that's traumatic, honestly. It's a very scary world when even your parents don't believe you. It ends up with 3 girls being accused, right? Yeah. Chloe, Sophie, and we get to the third. I can't believe that they really thought these little girls were sending these messages. They show Lauren on camera in her room. She's still in the pink outfit. This whole time she's being interviewed, she's still in that pink outfit in her room, just to remind you. She talks about how Lauren, Macy, and Chloe used to always be huddled up on their phones at school. And she says it in this way, like, still not clicking in her head that it wasn't them. You know what I mean? Like, she's still salty with them over this, even though it wasn't them. But she wholeheartedly believed this whole time for 2 years that this was happening to her, that it was them. The superintendent Chillman says the parents were getting upset with the school because they weren't doing anything. Which, I mean, do we blame them? They wanted a phone policy to keep their phones in their lockers. He's like, nah. Jill reached out to the basketball coach because the girls on the team are fighting with each other because they're all at odds. Maybe we should hold a meeting, talk to the girls, see what's going on. No. Let me tell you, I played field hockey in high school, and when all of us our periods were synced, there was gossiping. Hell no, I quit my senior year. I quit. I said, F this. I get it. This team, the coach was probably like, moms, get in here and help me, please. Because the basketball coach was like, hell yeah, let's do this. The superintendent and the principal were like, no. Shulman's like, the parents wanted to come in and investigate themselves, come in, have meetings, start pointing fingers. I told them at this point, this is not going to go how you think it's going to go. They're just trying to figure it out, honestly, because you're not doing anything. They're coming up with ideas for you. Tammy, Chloe's mom, comes on camera and she's like, Jill and Kendra were constantly going up to the school and bitching to Principal Boyer, and finally the superintendent's like, you're crazy. So this is really causing rifts amongst all these parents, honestly. Two best friends, Jill and Corinne, are accusing each other's kids. The Wilsons hating the McKinneys. So I kind of get why Chillman was like, you know what? Just let the police do their job. Stay out of the school. Tammy was saying that Owen was giving Chloe shit every day. Like, they all thought it was Chloe. It got so bad that Jill was pretending to be Owen on his phone to try and get her to admit that it was her, like Chloe. And I don't condone an adult pretending to be a child and texting another child. That's messed up. At the same time, Jill was not being nefarious like Kendra was. She was just being a mama bear. She was desperate to help her son. Jill said all the evidence pointed towards Chloe. They all thought it was Chloe. Even Sophie and Macy ended up asking Chloe, like, is it you? And she got really upset. Like, even her friends didn't believe her. So this is going to live with Chloe forever. Like, this changed a part of her brain chemistry. You have to understand that. When people do not believe you, it really messes with you. Something that was mentioned in the court documents, but not in the documentary, because the documentary had a certain narrative they were going with, you know? Chloe's parents had people they thought the unknown number was that was trying to pin this on Chloe. One of them, they said, was Kendra. They thought it was Lauren or Kendra because Kendra was super pissed off that Chloe moved up in basketball and Lauren didn't. There was also news articles going around this time, like when this was happening, Kendra was stated as a suspect. Mike Main says that Chloe took a vacation with her family to Florida and the messages changed to an area code from Florida. So another reason why they all thought it was Chloe. Tammy says as soon as, like, we were over the border an hour into Florida and we were getting messages are coming from Florida. So Kendra wasn't only stalking Lauren and Owen, she was also stalking Chloe. We don't really think about that, do we? She was using a VPN to change the phone number, by the way. She even made a fake Snapchat in Chloe's name. She was making social media. Kendra was constantly changing that phone number too. She would block Lauren and then change the number and then start messaging her again. She would message Lauren pretending to be other kids. She pretended to be one of Chloe's friends or like someone on the volleyball team that overheard Chloe talking about how it's her. So she put into the tip line, because they made a tip line for this, like an anonymous tip line, which another thing they didn't talk about in the documentary is that Kendra was putting in anonymous tips that it was Lauren doing this. Chloe was like desperate. She said in the documentary she didn't know what to do. So her dad told her to just give him her phone, let him dump her phone. Mike Main says they went through Chloe's phone and found nothing. Then we see the text come up on screen with the creepy robot voice. Bitches, I talked to police yesterday. Them effing kept my phone, fucking searched it, copied it, found nothing bad. So now Kendra's full on leaning into that it's Chloe. She's like admitting as the unknown number, as the unknown catfish, that she's Chloe. But the kids and everybody sees right through this facade. She started sending pictures of Owen and Chloe from the unknown catfish. And Owen's like, why would they just out themselves like this when they've been trying to keep it a secret this whole time? Corinne's like, nobody would just point the finger at themselves. So at this point, it was clear that someone trying to frame Chloe. In the documentary, they show the body cam footage of Tammy and Craig and Chloe talking to Mike Main about who they think this could be. They cut out the part where they say Kendra's a suspect, but they just talk about Adriana, which is Owen's cousin. Something funny in the documentary I saw was that when they're talking about this part, about her being framed, they show a girl, they like do a zoom in of a girl holding a phone and her nails are blue and say like Beale City. She got her nails done just for that shot. That 5-second camera angle. At this point, I'm still confused as to why Mike Main hasn't looked at any like local pedophiles. Why don't you think this is a grown adult? I don't know.
Mike Main says that as a police officer, you can't get tunnel vision, but meanwhile, he gets tunnel vision thinking that this is a child. He never thinks second, third, fourth option, an adult. No, it's just child. To avoid tunnel vision, he says he decides to read all 1,000 messages, but later the FBI agent says that he was only given like 700. So I think Mike Main was exaggerating there. He comes across in these messages a picture that was taken at Christmas time at Owen's house, like at their family Christmas. So it was suspicious. It was sent in a group message to Owen and to Lauren. So he gets with Jill and he's talking to Jill and asking who could this be? One person in Owen's family is in Owen's grade, and that is Adriana, his cousin. Chloe comes on the documentary and says that they thought it could have been Adriana because she hangs out with a group of girls that doesn't like her because she's very competitive in sports. Sophie comes on the documentary and says that Adriana made up a rumor that they bully her and we threw carrots at her. Like, can you believe that, basically, is how she comes off? Can you believe she would say that? Chloe didn't mention the carrot thing, though. But she's, according to her parents, she's just a leader. She's not a bully. Adriana comes on screen and she talks about how she played volleyball with Chloe, Macy, and Sophie, and these three girls had their group of friends, and if you weren't in their group of friends, you were considered what Adriana called an outsider, and if you were an outsider, they weren't nice to you. She said at this time that she would cry. She didn't want to go to school. It was horrible for her. On the documentary, we see body cam footage of Maine talking to Chloe and her parents, and there was a time in volleyball season when Adriana's mom got involved. She got Boyer involved. There was a lot of drama going on. And to me, that there's this, deep social hierarchy with these parents. Like, Mike Main interviews Adriana. Adriana says she was drilled with questions and Mike Main was kind of aggressive with her. She said she had to walk back to class after being interrogated by Sheriff Main and everybody was looking at her like they knew and they thought she was guilty. She says her opinion of police officers has changed now since this, and every time she drives past one, she gets scared. Another child that is being traumatized by this stalking situation, all because Kendra hates her daughter and wants a 14-year-old boy. Adriana says that after she was interrogated by Mike Main, like that night, she got a text message from the unknown number. You see the text flash on screen and you hear the creepy robot voice again. Hey, Adriana, Owen needs your help. We need to get Lo gone away from him. Tell his parents Lo a bitch, fucked up his life, and you hate her too. And this scared the shit out of Adriana. She says she dropped her phone and instantly started crying. She's like, this is scary. How could this person have my number? It's like one of those scary movies that she couldn't believe this was happening to her. And I just want to know, what was the point of Kendra sending this? This part in the documentary on screen, it says it's 2022. And Jill tells us that in spring of 2022, they weren't living their normal life. Every night was sleepless. There was just countless messages. They felt like they were being stalked. Nothing was getting done. No one was figuring anything out who this could be, and it wasn't getting stopped. They show more text on screen with the creepy voice. You know what we want. And it shows that Owen would respond and be like, what? Like, what do you want? We went to take Lo down. She's a fucking waste. Why is he even responding? What is happening? It's been almost 2 years and these kids are still responding to this? Jill says these messages were coming in at like 1 and 3 in the morning. So Kendra, what are you doing? She seems to be obsessed with sending these messages. Wouldn't you say? It has affected her entire life. She's sending 40 to 50 messages a day. She's sending them in the middle of the night. Sean Licari comes on the camera and says that there seemed to be like tension, like a fight in the house because of the messages, and there was tension and nobody could get along in the Licari home. Sean says, he goes, I was coming at Kendra saying, I thought you could handle this. She's like, I'm handling it. He mocked her voice. Then they show on camera Kendra sitting in the dark, like flattering, you know, looking at her in the blue light in her phone. And there's a voiceover of her talking about how she wasn't spending enough time at home. Interesting. Lauren was a priority, but Sean wasn't a priority. Her priority was abusing her own daughter and sexually harassing a 14-year-old boy. That was her priority. Sean says in the documentary that at this time they were really going through it financially. They had to move 4 times from losing 4 homes. They didn't really get into a lot of the details of the financial stuff on the documentary, but Kendra even committed insurance fraud by saying that the lightning hit their home and kept the money. And the real reason they were losing their homes was because Kendra wasn't working and she was lying about working. Sean did say it, I touch on it again, but Sean did say that at this time, Lauren was really suffering. She was crying every day and did not want to go to school. He's like, I felt bad forcing her to go to school. The different YouTubers I listened to talked about how, according to Sean's co-workers, he couldn't live without Kendra. She controlled the finances. She was in charge of everything. She was the breadwinner. But by the 4th time she got scammed, they were like, something's up, dude. And they were trying to tell Sean. Next on the documentary, we see Jill and it's like body cam footage of Mike Main and Jill's just crying. She's disheveled. She's a mom at her wit's end. She's like, what can we do? Is there anything we can do? And Mike Main just says, well, have you taken the phone away? Have you changed the number? Like, that's all they've got. That's all they want you to do. They don't want to investigate this case. They don't want to figure it out. They don't give a fuck. That's what it is. They just want you to change the number and stop. She says she has the phone. She's had the phone all day. So Owen's going to school without his phone, so he doesn't have to see it. And she's getting just the torture of what's going on and what they're saying. She says they're tormenting me. She had gone through the phone, and a couple weeks ago, she had seen Owen say to these people, these people, it's Kendra. He says to Kendra, I hope you know you make me feel so. She says she doesn't know how to handle it anymore. And she's like begging, is there any way to track who's doing this? Like, Jill comes on camera and she's like, Mike Main just told me to get a new phone. And I said, that's not good enough. And she says, if he doesn't do something about it, she's going to the papers. Go, Mom. But Mike Main tells cameras, he used up all his resources. So he ran out of resources, guys. So he got the FBI involved. Go, Jill. April 2022 is when the FBI is brought in. It said he had 720 pages. That's a very specific number, so I tend to believe him, and Mike Main was just exaggerating when he said he had 1,000 pages of messages, right? Yeah. The FBI agent Bradley Peters said that he was appalled at the help that the parents were getting. The lack of help. Bradley Peters said he wanted to get a full extraction of Owen's phone, which is interesting because on this documentary, they've really honed in on how Lauren is the victim here. They've been worried about Lauren's mental health and Lauren harming herself. Jill's been doing the work. I don't know why they didn't get Lauren's phone too. I don't know. But I mean, they didn't learn anything from extracting the phone anyway. So in the documentary, it's at 19 months since, this was originally started. And Owen is talking to a new girl in Pinconning, which is a couple hours away from Beale City, Michigan. Owen says that he started to feel happy again until he got a message from the girl saying that her mother was receiving messages from an unknown number saying, stay away from Owen, he's mine. So it really seems like the target is Owen and any girl that's dating him, right? Kendra had a sick obsession with Owen McKinney. So Owen and this girl from Pinconning break up. He didn't want to involve her. Jill says, in this part in the documentary, Jill says that he started getting really fidgety and angry, and he was bringing it out in basketball, like in sports, taking out his aggression. I keep wanting to say Bradley Cooper, but Bradley Peter, FBI agent, he does some research on the phone numbers and trying to trace them back to the website, the app that is being used to generate these fake numbers, and he traces it back to an app called Pinger. He gets IP addresses that are linked to a Verizon account. So then he gets a search warrant and sends it to Verizon, and then they trace back the IP addresses to a phone number. And on May 23rd, he finds out who it is. Quick.
And the phone number was Lauren's mom, Kendra.
I got to see TikTok people's reactions to finding this part out in the documentary, and someone said that Kendra looked like Quasimodo, and I can't unsee it anymore. So it's been almost 2 years since these messages started, and everybody is shocked. The FBI agents shocked, Mike Main's shocked, Jill's shocked, the superintendent Chillman's shocked, Principal Boyer's shocked. Everybody shocked. It says 22 months since all this has started, and it's body cam footage of Mike Main. He's on his way to serve Kendra Licari with search warrants for her home and her devices. He shows up to talk to her, and she's like this. She pretends to not know what's going on when he says the number came back to her. Like, my number? My number? Yeah, is there like some sort of infatuation with Owen or something? She's like, no, it's nothing like that. But I mean, that's what we've all been thinking this whole time, that whoever this is messaging is obsessed with Owen, jealous of any girl talking to Owen. Owen is hers. Obviously, that's why people would think that. So you just saying, no, nothing like that is not going to convince me, lady. When she says it, she's looking off to the side like she's trying to think of something to say. No, nothing like that. So he's questioning her, trying to get out of her, like, well, why? What is going on here? Why did you do this? Was he mean to her or something? She starts to say that the messages that started at the Halloween party weren't her. That wasn't her. She didn't start those. 11 months later. So 2021, when they started freshman year, she started those. The Halloween party, wasn't me. It has been confirmed that they were all her, though, I'm pretty sure. You can correct me. Maine asked Kendra if Lauren knows, and Kendra says Lauren doesn't know and doesn't want her to know. He's like, well, unfortunately, it's going to be public knowledge here soon because Jill's gonna know. There's other girls that were accused. Their parents gotta know. Kendra gets upset by this. Kendra says that once this is out, she doesn't understand how Lauren's going to be able to go to school. Bitch, like, you care? Sean said you've been sending her to school crying every day. She didn't want to go to school already. You didn't care about that. You still kept torturing her. It's so random of you to all of a sudden start caring about your daughter's mental health and well-being. I also want to note that while this is going on, the other police officer has been searching the place while Mike Main is talking to her and they've asked her like twice. They've asked her twice if she has given them all her devices, and she has told them yes, she has. So she has lied twice. This here is why I fucking hate Mike Main. Main asked Kendra, you want me to go talk to Lauren? And she says, can we just bring her in here? And he's like, all right. Please tell me, is that protocol? Is that police protocol? Because you are telling the victim in front of her perpetrator that she's the perpetrator. When has that ever been done? Please tell me. I understand she's a child and the cops can only speak to her with an adult present. Then wait for Sean to get there, you idiot. So I get so worked up about it. I'm not even going to talk about it that much, but that's so effed up to me that a police officer told a victim who her perpetrator was in front of her perpetrator. That's what happened. So inappropriate, in my opinion. I don't know. Do you agree? And the way he tells her is messed up too. He doesn't just come out and say it. Hold on, I'm going to read exactly what he said. Listen. I understand you guys have been going through it financially, but Mom got wrapped up into some stuff. She didn't start it, but she finished it. And we found some evidence and we got to take her phone. Sometimes when we're not thinking straight, we do things that aren't right. Your mom doesn't want this to get out, but this is public information. It's not going to not get out, so I just want to be honest. She says she had no idea what was going on, and I believe that. But I want to make sure you're safe. I want to make sure you're safe before I leave, so I want you to call your dad. What the actual fuck? Where in there does he say, well, it's your mom. Your mom's been harassing you. Your mom's been stalking you. Your mom's been sexually harassing your boyfriend. Your mom told you to unalive yourself. Your mom wants to cream your 14-year-old boyfriend. He basically gave her an excuse, like, oh, Mom got wrapped up into some stuff because you're having financial problems. What the But I guess, what do you expect from a bunch of cops in a podunk town in Michigan? They don't really have training or experience in small towns, in my opinion.
There's a lot of body language in this body cam footage I found very interesting. When they pull Lauren in to talk to her, she's swaying, like kind of just swinging the bar chair. And then when Mike Main says that her mom has gotten wrapped into some stuff, she stops. And then slowly her mom starts to use physical manipulation on her. I got so grossed out watching it. I was like, get your dirty hands off her, you witch. And pay attention to what's being said and the physical movement that's being made. Okay. That's not her manipulating her daughter, right? And Lauren looks like she's just mentally checking out. She's like in shock, trying to process what Mike Main is saying to her. Mike Main says they have a search warrant. She grabs Lauren's leg, or she stands up and then starts grabbing her. She starts grabbing her whenever he says that sometimes we do things when we aren't thinking straight. She separates from Lauren and sits down when they go to call Sean, but when Mike Main starts talking to Sean, she grabs on to Lauren again and holds on to her hand, like making her presence known. Sean gets home and he gets the decency of being told not in front of the perpetrator. That he got that respect. What the fuck, Lauren, though? Mike Main went to meet him outside when he got there and told him on the porch. Told her that it's been her this whole time and she hasn't been working for over a year. And that's news to Sean. Mike Main says that he has a warrant for all the devices, and that's whenever Sean reveals that she has more than one phone. Do you have all the phones? He's like, she only gave us one because she's been lying. Twice. She lied twice about having another phone. Sean was under the impression that her second phone was a work phone. According to an article in The Cut, in spring of 2021 at Ferris University, where she worked in IT tech or something, Kendra was put on a disciplinary review for excessive use of her phone, non-work related things, texting and calling. And by August of 2021, she just decided to quit. Severance pay, I guess. And August 2021 is around the time when the messages started back up again. So if she, like, at first I would have thought that she got fired from her job because she was on her phone all the time harassing Lauren and Owen. But no, this was during the 11-month break. So who was she on her phone with so much all that time? I'm very curious of that. After leaving Ferris' different job that was higher paying or something, but this was a lie. She didn't have another job. She pretended at home to be swamped with work and always taking work calls, spending 8 hours a day harassing her daughter and her boyfriend. Mike Main, they go inside. Mike Main tells Kendra, all right, we know about the other phone. And she just goes like this. You gotta tell me where's like a little kid. He's like, you gotta tell me where's the other phone. Where is it? The other cop's like, we'll tear this place apart. It's in the warrant. I'm allowed to do it. He's like all excited and ready to go. Let's tear this bitch up. Let's go. He's bored in this little town. Let's go. And she's like, it's outside. It's outside. It's outside. And Mike Main's like, oh, like when you were out there and you tried to walk away from us. So she was hiding it. She knew something was up. Sean starts asking Kendra about the job situation. He's getting all riled up. I heard some discourse online where people question, like, why did he get so mad about the job thing and not about Kendra telling their daughter to unalive herself? And I feel like with both Sean and Lauren, I think they were like in shock and couldn't grasp that it was Kendra in that moment. That's something he could get mad at and he understood in that moment. So in my notes, I didn't put this out, but I swear I remember this. Sean tells Kendra to leave. And he's like, I'm done with this. And you're wrapping Lauren up into this. And Lauren starts to cry when he says that. I didn't put that down. That was part of the body language. I'm going to try to get a clip of it.
I can't go to one. The house. No.
Yeah, wrapping her up in her psychopathic, pedophilic fantasies, whatever is going on. There was a part earlier in the body cam footage before Sean was there where Lauren was looking to Kendra to like gauge a reaction off of her, like a child who's emotionally abused by their parents, a mom who probably can't regulate her emotions. Okay, so here, the body language of Lauren as her dad's talking about the work stuff. He's getting all riled up about work. She's still sitting in the bar chair, and she's turning her bar chair to turn her back on her mother and turn away from her mother. And then when he mentions the one part, she starts to cry. Here comes Kendra, comes over to grab her again. Pull her in and try to control her parents when Sean tells her to, like, call your parents, you're getting out of here. Get out of here. She just keeps holding on to Lauren. It's like, I can't leave her. I can't let her go. I can't leave her. I can't let her go. No emotion, no tears, no nothing on her face. She's just acting this way for show, in my opinion, because she hates Lauren. What I got from the messages, she hates her daughter. People who say Lauren was involved in this just didn't watch the same body cam footage as me. I saw something different. She was showing no emotion in the body cam footage, nothing. And That was the same thing for the whole documentary. She smiled maybe twice. Monotone, no emotion, shy, quiet. Everyone said this about her. This doesn't change in the body cam footage to me. It's her baseline. Someone said the only time she really started to cry was whenever her mom was leaving and grabbing onto her. But she started to cry whenever her dad said, "You involved your daughter in this." That's when she started to cry. The whole time Sean is outside calling Kendra's parents, she's got this little girl in a headlock holding on to her and will not let her go. And the body language, did you see Lauren's hand? She's got her arm, because the way her mom's got her, she has to have her arms out like this. And she's got her arm flat on the bar. She doesn't have her arm wrapped around her mom. She's rejecting her mom, in my opinion. In the documentary, after this, all this body cam footage, it cuts to Kendra and she's like, "I don't know," and starts crying. She's like, "You guys are gonna think I'm a crazy lady." And someone off camera says, "No, fuck you, Netflix. This bitch is crazy." And I hate that they said that to her. And I swear Netflix took it out too, because I heard it originally. And I've heard other people cover that they say it too. But for some reason, I've watched it again and I don't hear it anymore. Lauren tells camera that the shock turned to sad, turned to mad, turned to crazy. I can't even describe the feeling. And when she's saying this, she's in her room in the pink outfit with the white. How could my mom do this? Like, did she actually do this? Is what she's saying. Like, see, she's in shock. She admits she was really confused. Sean says he can't believe she would do this to their own 14-year-old daughter and it makes him sick. Jill says she can't get the disgust feeling out of her from whenever she heard it was Kendra. The betrayal of letting someone like that into their lives. You can't even imagine it, she says. Owen says he was speechless and couldn't believe that someone would do this to their own child. And to you, Owen, you're a victim too. You were her main obsession. Can you believe she compared driving drunk to sexually harassing a 14-year-old child and telling your daughter to unalive themselves? It's disgusting. She can't take any accountability and has no remorse for what she's done. She doesn't think this is anything. This is no big deal. If she can talk about it in this manner, then she has no remorse for the situation at all. If she can talk about it this way, then she doesn't understand the magnitude of what she's done. Production asks Kendra if she sent the original messages back in October, and Kendra says no, because she started them 11 months later. She was texting Lauren and Owen to try to figure out who the original person was. That's why it started, to find out who the original person was. She wanted to know, so she started messaging them to see if they would send back, "Oh, is this so-and-so?" So then she could figure it out. I have one problem with that. After the 11 months that they informed their parents. So Kendra never knew about those original text messages, supposedly from the storyline. Why would she be trying to figure out who sent them in August 2021? Why would she be asking about those, trying to figure that out, if she never knew about them? Kendra says to cameras she just wanted answers and it just turned into a snowball spiral effect. She says she didn't know how to stop and she was just a different person in those moments. Yeah, you thought you were a 15-year-old mean girl hanging out with Chloe and Sophie or some shit. That's who you were in those moments. You were jealous of your own daughter. She said she was in an awful place mentally and she felt like she had a mask on. Yeah, she wanted to wear Lauren's skin. I didn't even know who I was. She said she would let it consume her from 1 to 8 hours a day. Harassing and belittling her daughter and fantasizing about being sexual with her boyfriend, her 14-year-old boyfriend. Guys, she just wanted to get creamed by a 14-year-old. What's the big deal? It's just like driving your car drunk. You just didn't get caught for it. She said this whole thing removed her from her everyday life, so she didn't have to worry about the fact that she didn't have a job and she was running out of money and losing 4 different homes and lying to her husband about it. She could be a cool mean girl. Lauren says in the documentary that she thinks that all the messages were her mom. The whole time they showed people like talking about Kendra and how they can't believe it was Kendra. They just show Kendra in the dark on her phone on the blue light. I think production asked if the mean things Kendra said were directed at Lauren's insecurities, and Kendra said that, yeah, I called her thin and stuff, but it wasn't directed at her insecurities. And I think production gave her an idea. Maybe that was it, because I was too thin. Bitch, please. You were jealous of your daughter because she's beautiful and you're goofy ass looking. Sorry. Not sorry. I think she wanted to be her daughter, and I'll die on that hill. Production asked her if she was worried about Lauren hurting herself or unaliving herself, and Kendra says she wasn't worried about that because she knows her daughter and her daughter wouldn't do something like that, so I guess she was comfortable with saying those things. She says if she didn't know her daughter, then things might have been different. According to Jill and Kendra went to the principal's office and he had asked if they were worried about Lauren hurting herself, and Kendra just sat there silently. And Jill had to say, yes, Kendra, say yes. We are worried about her harming herself. They show Kendra's cousin come into the documentary and she comes up, she diagnoses her with cyber Munchausen by proxy. No expert has said anything on this, mind you. I just think she doesn't want to admit that her cousin is a pedophile, a predator. Her cousin brings up a good point that Kendra was messaging Lauren about how Owen doesn't want to be with her because she's not giving him BJs. What 14-year-old should have to be worrying about that? That's what the cousin says. Yeah, but also, didn't you think about what mother is thinking about her 14-year-old daughter and boyfriend doing that? That doesn't click anywhere either. This woman's a predator to me. Then the superintendent, Shulman, says the same thing about cyber Munchausen by proxy. These experts on Munchausen by proxy have diagnosed Kendra Licari with cyber Munchausen by proxy. So that's kind of what everybody thinks is going on here, because a superintendent at Beale City, Michigan school, Kendra Licari's cousin. I'm trying to be nice about this. I kind of get it, like she was sending her these messages, upset her, isolate her from her friends so that all she has is her mom. But what about the sexual stuff? What was that needed for? If it was cyber Munchausen by proxy, wouldn't she just be mean to her daughter and tell her to unalive herself or something? That's with the sexual stuff. I also think it's weird that's called cyber Munchausen by proxy. Wouldn't it be like psychological Munchausen by proxy? Like just because she's using it on the phone, but it's psychologically she's hurting her. Mike Main and Kendra's cousin both say that she was very manipulative and she controlled the finances, and Sean said that he didn't know what was going on. She said that everything was fine, but they kept getting evicted from their home and she didn't pay for the storage unit and they lost all their stuff, and production asked Kendra about the finances. She says that her and Sean were both aware of their situation. Bullshit, sister. He didn't know you didn't have a job. Therefore, he didn't know about your financial situation. He didn't know that he was the only income coming in. One thing they did mention in the documentary I thought was messed up as well was that Lauren found out her mom was arrested from Instagram, like at school, like all the kids told her at school. Lauren's being interviewed still in her little pink shirt and the white vest, and she's talking about how she wants her mom in her life and she doesn't care what other people think about that. But she says it in a way like she's about to cry. You hear it in her voice. She was taken to court for 2 counts of stalking a minor, 2 counts of communicating on a computer to commit a crime, and 1 count of obstructing justice, and she pled guilty to stalking to drop all the other charges and avoid trial. April 26, 2023 was the day of the sentencing. Kendra speaks out in front of everyone and she apologizes to Owen and Chloe and Lauren and says that she has a mental illness and blames the R word when she was 17. The essay with the hard R, yeah, that happened when she was 17. So that's why she did this. Crock of shit. She just wants sympathy from people. That's it. Point blank period. Jill and Owen got to speak at the sentencing because they didn't get a trial, so it was the only time they got to speak out on their feelings on the situation. They said in the documentary that they didn't go to trial because Kendra was given a plea deal to avoid the kids having to relive everything at the trial, but they just reenacted and relived everything on the documentary for Netflix. So she got a plea deal for nothing? She is out of prison for nothing. She served 19 months and she's going to be on parole until February 2026, so she's almost done. Jill says that Kendra had become obsessed with Owen and wanted a relationship with Owen, and Owen even says that he felt like she was attracted to him. She was super friendly and it didn't feel like she was my girlfriend's mom. So I can imagine that like after he found out that it was Kendra, he was like reliving every moment he's been with Kendra and being like, oh yeah, and that time, oh remember when she said that to me? Like it just all clicked. Jill says that Kendra would glorify him and go out of her way to be noticed by him. She would text him to keep a connection, kept a connection after they broke up. She signed up to be his personal track coach. She went to all Owen's sporting events after him and Lauren broke up. Sat by Jill, asked about his new girlfriends. When Lauren and Owen were together, she drove 3 hours away to go to one of his games. Owen was going to have a tournament in Florida, and Kendra wanted to turn his tournament into a Florida Licari family vacation. Jill said, no, he's going to focus on his sports, and that's it. You're not going to do that. Lauren tells cameras that she's talked to her mom about this situation, but not about why she said, like, unalive yourself. It makes her sad, she says, to think that her mom said that to her. She still talks to her mom in prison, though. They can talk twice a week and email back and forth. The emails sent from Kendra to Lauren in prison are straight love bombing. trying to manipulate her. Hello, curly monkey head. I'm mad at you. You made me so sad. You only said bye. You didn't say I love you. I forgive you. XOXOXOXOXO. I love you. Have a fantastical day. Again, on the documentary, they show all the messages and how overwhelming it was, how ridiculous it was. And it gives Kendra another platform to explain her story of why she did this, defend herself. She says she's not the same person as she was from 2020 to 2022 when this happened. She's different now. She gives some sob story about how she was having previous trauma from when she was SA'd with a hard R when she was 17. And she didn't want Lauren to go through this. So she didn't want her daughter to go through this, so she sexually harassed her daughter's boyfriend and told her to unalive herself. I'm sorry, but these messages were a bombardment of hatred and jealousy. You're like bashing on your daughter's features and appearance, picking on her insecurities that you know about because she cries to you about them because you're her only friend and her mom. You use them against her. She was obsessed with Owen. I feel like they left that kind of stuff out because they were trying to fit this narrative of having this plot twist so everybody would love the documentary. They touch on Chloe at the end of the documentary. They talk about how this affected her being accused, but they don't really talk about Adriana and how it affected her again, even though she was wrongfully accused too. F the McKinney family. Jill did come on and apologized for pretending to be Owen and texting Chloe and doing all that. But we didn't get an apology from Craig and Tammy Wilson, Chloe's parents, for accusing Adriana. Where's your apology, assholes? Adriana was bullied by your daughter, and now she's scared of cops because of this situation, and she didn't get an apology from anybody, probably. Mike Main probably didn't even apologize to her. And I just don't like the Wilsons because they accuse Sean and Lauren of being in on this too. Why? Why would the whole family be doing this to harass Lauren? For what? For what? The only question I do have for this case, though, is Kendra, was there a life insurance policy out on Lauren? Because I felt like she wanted to be the mother of a daughter who unalived herself and get all that attention and then get the money because her and Sean are in their homes. They're financially strapped. With my theory, I would question maybe if Sean was in on it, but I felt like his reactions were genuine. But I could be wrong because I was wrong about Gypsy Rose Blanchard when I was younger too. I heard those rumors and I was like, you're lying. Turns out she could walk. I really do think Sean had a genuine reaction whenever he was talking to Kendra about the job situation. She wouldn't tell him. She was just denying everything. He's like, you better tell me while the cops are here because when they're not here, I'm going to get arrested. Threatening her in front of the cops was pretty genuine to me. The only thing the Wilsons said right was thank God for the FBI agent because he figured it out. But thank God for Jill McKinney, okay? This never would have gotten figured out if she didn't keep hounding everybody to figure it out. She was a mom on a mission. If it wasn't for Jill, the FBI agent never would have been involved. Mike Main just said, get your kids a new phone. He gave up. Next in the documentary, we see Lauren, and she's in the kitchen. She's in a new location, and she's in a gray hoodie. This is a different interview. This is very important to me. It shows a different time frame that she's being interviewed. The pink outfit, she was talking to her mom. Her mom was still in prison. In the gray hoodie, she's not allowed to talk to her mom because her mom's out of prison. She's on parole, and part of her parole is she cannot speak to Lauren or see Lauren. So she has no communication with her mom now. She's free of her mom's manipulation and that grasp on her. It's different. And here she says she wants to see her mom, but when the time is right. She's like, it would be a relief to see her, but it would be so hard. We see Kendra on the documentary, and she claims that they've not seen each other for a year and a half. Lauren here in the gray says she wants to trust her mom, but she feels like she cannot trust her mom. She wants her mom to get the help she needs, so that way when she sees her again, it won't go back to the old ways. So she's nervous that her mom's going to do this again. She's scared of her mom. That's what I got out of that. They end the documentary with Lauren in her pink shirt and her white vest. So at a time that she's still under her mom's grip, she says it's very important for her to keep her relationship with her mom, and she loves her mom more than anything. Which is a fucked up way to end the documentary, in my opinion, because she doesn't feel that way anymore. Obviously, from the interview with the gray sweatshirt, she doesn't feel the same way. So to end it on that note, to make it look like to us as an audience who's not picking up on that she still loves her mom, is messed up. Because she's so young. Her frontal lobe still got to grow. Do you guys in the comments, do you think Lauren was involved? Do you think Sean was involved? Do you think it was a whole family thing? Am I alone in thinking that that's crazy? I think that's crazy. Why? There's no why to that. Why they would all be in on it. I think everything in the court documents points to Kendra being a predator. It stated that Kendra had PDF files on her laptop or something where she had like one file folder named Snap with all her logins, all her different logins. She was making social media accounts. She had a file with screenshots of all the text messages. And there was a file folder called O for Owen with a letter to Owen in it, but they were not allowed. Rotten Mango couldn't get that. It was for privacy reasons because he's a minor, so they could not get the letter to Owen. But she had a whole ass folder on her laptop for Owen. I really think she was obsessed with Owen. All the messages were pointing towards Owen and Lauren breaking up, hatred towards Lauren. She wanted to do things to Owen and creamery. And you got to think, if this was a man doing this, they would have gotten charged with SA, sexual harassment or something. Like if this was a grown-ass man messaging his son and his son's girlfriend about sexual things he wanted to do to his son's girlfriend, he would still be in prison right now. Shut up. Netflix asked her if she was jealous. You know, they did ask her if she was jealous of Lauren, and she said no, but Netflix didn't really push back on that. And question with a follow-up, nothing. Just let a predator come onto their platform and defend her story. Excuses when she's crying like, I'm just a crazy lady. I know you all think I'm a crazy lady. You're like, no, you're not. Shut up, Netflix. And I heard they had to convince Kendra to be on the documentary in the first place. They'd filmed half the documentary before she even was on go for it. Kendra's parole actually is that she needs to uphold a job. And so I wonder if this could be considered a job for her for part-time. So she didn't have to work. This documentary was her work for a while. I don't know. I'm just wondering. Oh, and I learned Chloe's mom, Tammy, dressed up as a scarecrow with Kendra's mugshot as a mask and phones taped to her hands. It's a funny costume for like someone like me to do for Halloween. But your daughter was accused of doing this. Her friends. This is a traumatized situation, and you're poor taste. Poor taste. Another girl is traumatized because she was accused by you and your husband, and you're going to dress up as this bitch? I honestly don't really care for anybody in this town. That's my personal experience with the town I live in that I don't care for. I feel bad for the quiet kids at this school and the quiet kids in Beale City. The quiet techie kids, the quiet kids that are friends with Adriana, those type of kids. I hope y'all are doing okay over there in Beale City. And I hope this brought awareness to your town and there's no more bullying going on in your town. This documentary was so disturbing to me, even though I knew the plot twist. Kendra Lakari kind of reminds me of Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Histrionic personality disorder, narcissistic behavior, psychopathic behavior, deviant sexual personality. She loves the attention. I'm just grossed out by Netflix bringing a predator on, just being able to defend themselves like that. It's kind of gross. They went viral with this documentary for featuring her and adding in that plot twist. What did you think of the documentary? It was a really well written, it was a good documentary, but I don't know how I feel about the moral aspect of it. What do you think of my opinions? Am I in the minority here? I probably am. I don't know. But yeah. I hope you guys had a great day. I hope you got to bed rot today. Hope it was a beautiful Sunday. I should be posting this on Sunday. Please let me be posting this on Sunday. Bye. Thank you for watching. Bye.